Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money Channel. As you guys can see on the daily, Bitcoin is, stalling out a little bit, but the last few days, we've seen a nice performance for Bitcoin. Right now, Bitcoin is trading on low volume. You can't even see it behind this little icon there, but a small candlestick. It is in the red right now after 4 consecutive days of green. If I throw it on the 1 hour, you guys can get a sense of what Bitcoin is doing right now. It is stalling out a little bit. We haven't really printed, technically we actually have printed another higher high here and higher lows. However, it is looking like at this point in time on the lower time frame, we probably will get a bit of a reversal. That's okay though, guys. It's okay. The sentiment in the space is very bullish still, and Bitcoin does need to take a bit of a breather before we continue our trajectory upward. Right now, the price of one Bitcoin is going for about 76,300. So we did see it go up as high just yesterday at about 77,200. We're really kind of flirting, though, with new all-time highs. I think we will see another push to the upside before the end of the year. I mean, some are projecting that we are going to get to $100,000 before the end of 2024. You guys can see fear and greed. That hasn't really moved too much since yesterday. So market volume has also not really moved a lot since yesterday. And so I'm not surprised that market volume is still sitting in and around 126, so 126 billion. And that is only down by 2.35%, which means the market volume within the last 24 hours hasn't really moved too much. Market cap has gone up a little bit by 3.62%. Bitcoin dominance sitting at 58.1%. And this is normal. I mean, we're going to see this slow down before another move to the upside. Remember how many bearish days we did see before Bitcoin continued its trajectory upward. And ultimately, guys, we still have some time in this market. Lark Davis here posting this. When will Bitcoin top this cycle?
Ali saying historically Bitcoin has reached market tops roughly 8 to 12 months after achieving a monthly close above its previous all-time high. If this pattern continues, the next potential market top for Bitcoin could occur between July and November 2025. Okay, it's coming. It's coming. We're entering the last phase of this cycle.
So, I mean, you can take it from Lark if you want. We are entering the last phase of this cycle, guys, and this last phase is going to be spectacular. This is when we're going to see altcoins also start to rally. Let's bring up the XRP chart here for a second. XRP also retracing a little bit since we did see that most recent high a couple of days ago of about 58 cents, almost 58 cents per XRP, 57.8. Right now, the price of one XRP, though, is going for about 54.8. And I know there's a contingency of the XRP community that's getting a little upset that XRP is not pumping in the same kind of capacity that, let's say Bitcoin is. Guys, Bitcoin goes first. Some of the other altcoins are going to pump next. And then XRP, guys, how many times do I have to say it last and fast? Let's take XRP from election day and let's see how high it went before it did retrace. So it did actually pop about 15%. When we compare that to Bitcoin, let's take a look at what Bitcoin did. Bottom of election day here. I'm going to take it from the base, from the open, and how high it did go. Bitcoin actually only went up about 14%. So actually, XRP technically did outperform Bitcoin from election day to its high, and now it's retracing. So guys, let's just keep that in mind. Bitcoin moves first, and some of these projections are assuming maybe a $300,000 Bitcoin. I personally feel like that's a little bit generous, but I'm going to play you guys this. This is VanEck CEO Jan Van Eck. Listen to this.
Yeah, and it's great to have you. And when you're probably asked as much as I am if Bitcoin's going to 100,000 next, what would you say?
Kelly, happy Friday. I think Bitcoin's going to hit all-time highs. It hit them today, and I think it's going further, right? My basic premise is that ultimately Bitcoin's value will be half of that of all the gold outstanding. So you're talking about something like $300,000 for Bitcoin.
Why only half the value? Why not a quarter of the value or pick some other random number?
Well, because maybe I'm more balanced. I think if I were a Bitcoin maximalist, I would say it would overtake gold. But I think that's like a reasonable base assumption. It's clear, one of the big winners this year is individual investors have really piled into the Bitcoin ETFs. And I think as individuals, as a constituency, they were important in this election. The loss by Sherrod Brown of his Ohio Senate seat, the fact that Trump went to the Bitcoin convention shows that there's a big constituency in the U.S. and hopefully it becomes a bipartisan issue as well, not so one-sided.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of what we hope. But $300,000, and I mean, that is, taking into consideration comparing it to the gold market. Now, some of the other things that we should be paying attention to with regards to crypto and what's happening with regards to the regulated crypto products right now in the United States, because, guys, this is also going to play an important role moving forward towards that euphoria phase. The US SEC has delayed its decision on whether to approve the NYSE's application to offer option trading for the Ethereum ETF. So they're pumping the brakes a little bit. The US SEC indicated in its latest release that it would need more time to consider the NYSE's proposed rule to list and trade options on the Ethereum ETFs on the exchange. The regulator also called for written comments from the public on whether they should approve or propose the changed rule or not. The SEC had in September delayed its decision on the rule change and extended the deadline till November the 11th. So that is coming up on Monday. Following their latest decision, the commission will have until December, though, to determine whether or not they want to approve the NYSE option trading for these Ethereum ETFs. So this is going to affect a lot of companies that obviously want to get into this game. So the options would cover Bitwise, Ethereum ETF, Grayscale, the Grayscale Ethereum Mini, and other Ethereum ETF trusts that the exchange lists in the future. But there's also BlackRock's iShares, which is the only Ethereum ETF trust on the exchange. So maybe they're trying to, bide their time waiting for the rest of the traditional finance, the BlackRocks of the world, to get ready, to have their ducks in a row, to have their papers filed before they can finally greenlight the Ethereum ETF. And guys, if it's the same kind of situation with Ethereum as it has been for Bitcoin, well, the Ethereum price is also going to go up as well. Ethereum's been doing quite well, though. This is Ethereum on the daily. Right now, one Ethereum is trading for just over $3,000 per coin, about $3,042. So this is the daily chart. Let me just zoom out here. And let me just get rid of some of this here. All-time high was 48,800. And generally what we do see is, when we are up near that all-time high. So by the way, we're 37% down from all-time high. When we get up to this all-time high, that is generally a good indication. I mean, this is just one thing, and I'm just going to say it. This is why I have the Patreon, patreon.com/workingmoneychannel, because I'm going to be looking at all these different types of factors moving forward. You can follow me. It is only $5 a month. If you do get in now, you will be grandfathered in for the future when I do decide to raise the price. Ultimately, though, I'm going to be looking at things like this. This is just one of many metrics that I'm going to be looking at. What I'm telling you, though, is generally speaking, what happens is the altcoin market does follow Ethereum very closely because it is the largest altcoin by market cap and by, popularity for many different reasons. So when Ethereum gets up to all-time high, guys, we should be paying very, very close attention to what is going to be happening to the rest of the market. And this is why I bring news like this, because this is, I think it's important for what we have to do to pinpoint the top. Let me keep moving along, though, because there are some other metrics that I wanted to bring up as well. Benjamin Cowan bringing this up. Bitcoin is at 76,000 and still no one cares. Now, guys, this is also a very, very important metric. And myself, I have also noticed, I'm not listed in this list. I'm too small of a YouTuber, but this is interest. Okay, average interest in cryptocurrency over YouTube. I think YouTube specifically. YouTube views of these crypto YouTube channels still at about 25% of what they were averaging in 2021. So 1/4, which would equal 25%. So just make note of that, guys. People are not that interested yet in, watching YouTube channels and videos on crypto yet. The FOMO has not set in yet. Generally speaking, what we tend to see is the FOMO ramping up. Obviously, view counts ramp up because more people are interested. But another interesting observation here from Benjamin Cowan. There's also been some controversy revolving around Gary Gensler, the CEO of the American Securities Association, which represents regional brokers and financial service firms, has called on SEC Chairman Gary Gensler to resign. So, guys, this coming from Eleanor Turridge, she's saying that the hires up are even saying, Gensler, get out of there. The people voted for this country to take a new direction, and Chairman Gensler should respect that vote by stepping down from his position immediately. This is the only way for American working families, retirement savers, and small businesses to rebuild their trust and confidence in the institution of the SEC. And this is coming directly from the American Securities Association, the CEO over there. Even Jerome Powell getting a bit defensive of his position. This courtesy of Insider Paper. Listen to this.
Hi, Victoria Guida with Politico. Some of the president-elect's advisors have suggested that you should resign. If he asked you to leave, would you go?
No.
Can you follow up on, do you think that legally you're not required to leave?
No.
It's just that. No. Rookie mistake, though, from this journalist. She should have asked why, as opposed to giving that stupid answer that she gave after. Because if she'd ask why, he'd have to elaborate. Journalism 101. Let's keep moving along, guys. Brad Garlinghouse apparently made an appearance on the BBC. This one courtesy of Andrew DeVilbiss. Apparently, this was originally posted by Agent Broccolu, and it's now been circulating over social media. I'm going to play you guys a bit of this clip. Listen to this.
And one of the biggest winners from Donald Trump's re-election to the White House has been the crypto world. Bitcoin, for example, hit record highs this week by passing that $76,000 mark for the first time. Another token seeing big gains over the past few days is XRP, which has been developed by the digital payment network Ripple. It's currently valued at around $11 billion and is trying to go mainstream by launching its own ETF. However, it's currently involved in a long-standing case with the Securities and Exchange Commission, which is blocking the launch. For more on all this, we're now joined by the CEO of Ripple, Brad Garlinghouse. So welcome, Brad. Let's start with that tweet that you have sent on a crypto checklist to Donald Trump for his first 100 days, including firing SEC Chair Gary Gensler. What are the main things that you want him to address?
Well, as you probably know, Donald Trump has been kind of a crypto advocate and the crypto president by his self-proclamation around that for a number of months during the campaign. And he has actually said that one of the first things he would do in office is to do everything he can do to remove Gary Gensler, who has really waged a war against crypto in the United States. The irony, of course, is many countries around the world, even the UK, Switzerland, Singapore, have really leaned into crypto, created clear rules, which has allowed entrepreneurs and capital to flow in and allow the industry to grow and thrive.
But while Trump is seen as favorable for crypto leaders and investors, does his recent alignment with crypto actually pose some ethical concerns? I mean, he's launched the cryptocurrency project World Liberty Financial. Is this a potential conflict of interest now that he has a stake in the industry, Brad?
You know, I think obviously Donald Trump has stakes in lots of industries, and I think the voters decided that they preferred Donald Trump as opposed to other candidates throughout the process. So I don't really take a position on that. I think there's obviously a lot of disclosure laws, and I think as his second trip to the White House, I'm sure there's plenty of people around him that are experienced with that. I do think, regardless of his own participation in different parts of the economy, we've got to get the United States growing in as it relates to this industry. And the Biden administration, really not just the United States SEC, but other parts of the government as well, have been pretty hostile towards crypto, despite its growth, despite that it's over a $2 trillion market today.
I'm going to leave it there, guys. There's about another 2.5 minutes left. Brad Garlinghouse does comment on some other things. Bullish tailwinds ahead, though, with Donald Trump. Wanted to thank Andrew DeVilbiss for posting that. I mean, this is really going to shake things up. 2025 is looking very, very bullish for many different reasons, as Brad Garlinghouse did point out. The Democratic policy makers over the last 4 years have been very hostile towards cryptocurrency, and CFTC Commissioner Carolyn Pham shares the potential next steps for the new administration and the importance of these regulatory policies. Guys, I just wanted to play you a bit of this, because now that it is confirmed that Donald Trump is going to be the 47th president of the United States, things are going to look very, very different moving forward.
They have spoken, and they want to see people with real-world business experience in Washington. I think that's why you see the markets rallying, because there's a hope that there's going to be people with deeper understanding of the markets, of market fundamentals, of the international trade situation, and what that means for the balance of power between the U.S. and the rest of the world. So I think that's what that means. And I think importantly in the crypto space, what it means is no more regulation by enforcement, that America needs to go back to embracing innovation, and we need to be forward-looking, like we are here in Singapore, and be focused on what can we do to provide regulatory clarity now or today. And that's why I've proposed a U.S. regulatory sandbox in the past that we've talked about. And that's something that we can do now, we can do today. The MAS stood up their regulatory sandbox in 2018. It's time for us to do these pilot programs now. And the GMAC has been putting forward proposals as well to provide that regulatory clarity. Tokenized collateral proposal is coming up on November 21st, and there's already been the first ever GMAC U.S. digital asset taxonomy that will help to bridge that gap so that American can catch up with the regulatory clarity for crypto assets around the world that we're still lacking.
Okay, so there is much debate in the market right now about what President-elect Donald Trump would mean for regulation of crypto assets. Do you think we should be ready for lighter regulation or more regulation? Because as industry gets bigger and bigger, more formalized, I think, to my mind, there needs to be greater regulation and greater regulatory oversight. And you've been supportive of that. You've been very vocal about that. And so how do you see that contrasting with what policy could look like under Trump 2.0?
I think what people want to see is us getting back to the basics and putting in the work to establish clear rules of the road. Right now is an untenable situation because without clear rules of the road, what we have is a gotcha enforcement environment. And that's what we've seen. We've seen regulation by enforcement. So I do think that the first priority is going to be let's establish a regulatory framework that's sensible over crypto assets, that doesn't unnecessarily impede innovation and is up to current day with the amazing transformation that we're seeing in market structure, with the potential, again, with tokenization and what that can mean for clearing, for settlement, for 24/7 markets. But at the same time, ensure that we have protections in place for market participants and protections to guard against conflicts of interest. So it's all about right-sizing a clear regulatory framework for crypto assets in the United States.
And what would that look like for you? Give us examples. Like, are you talking about KYC? Are you talking about data storage, data security, know your customer, essentially? Who are the people who are transacting on blockchain? More disclosure norms. Could you spell it out in terms of what regulation is good regulation, what regulation is bad and unproductive regulation?
Sure, of course. So the first thing that we need to do is to establish clear registration regimes. So a lot of the enforcement actions that we've had at the CFTC and at the SEC have been for failure to register as a broker-dealer or failure to register as an exchange. At the CFTC, failure to register as a futures exchange. But the thing is that we've not provided the guidance to the industry on how do you register. So it's all well and good to do, like I said, it's a gotcha environment. You didn't register, but firms have put in applications with both agencies to try to register. And so I think it's not really fair to, on the one hand, say, come register. On the other hand, not tell anybody how to do that or to approve any applications.
It's kind of comical, really. Carolyn Pham brings up some very good points there. I also just wanted to show you guys this photo here. If you don't remember, Brad Garlinghouse and Carolyn Pham over there in the Ripple offices about a year or 2 years ago. So they're friendly. I mean, Gary Gensler, not so much, but I think, I think we're going to turn a page. I think Brad Garlinghouse is feeling very confident. Carolyn Pham obviously as well. And then we get the Edgar Dunn & Co. report, Advanced Payments of Fintech in 2025. Now, guys, this is a fairly lengthy report. Wrath of Kahneman does link it in that tweet. So I'm not going to go over the full thing, but it does go over several facets of fintech and payments. In the Asian region specifically, they do mention some blockchain companies. And as Wrath of Kahneman does point out here, Ripple is mentioned a couple of times in the report. Blockchain technology enhances fraud prevention and security through its decentralized immutable ledger system. Ripple's XRP ledger showcases this by enabling near instant transparent settlements, minimizing fraud risk. He then goes on to say, notice RippleNet Ripple Payments is described handling B2B, competing against Visa's B2B Connect and IBM's WorldWire. So interesting that they note that. And I don't know if you guys do not know, IBM does have a very big connect. IBM and WorldWire. This whole system here is connected to the Stellar network. Remittance platforms are described as BitPesa and Stellar's platform as well. Interesting to see how analysts see the market is fit. So guys, another interesting, and this is a brand new report, by the way. This is the outlook for 2025 specifically. So they are looking into the next 12 months when we're going to get that liquidity in the space, when, hopefully when we see cryptocurrencies like Ethereum, surpass its all-time high. Same with XRP. Guys, it's going to be a very different market this time around. And, one of the factors that is involved is that real-world utility moving forward. Now, Paul Barron also posted this from his show, the Paul Barron Network. This is Eric Balchunas discussing TradFi. Listen to this.
It's interesting, it's just the Ripple conference, and it felt pretty TradFi, compared to some of the other conferences I went to. And I can see it growing.
I was looking at your tweet. What odds would you give the appointments of Pierce as the chair? I'm kind of curious. What are you seeing now that you got a little bit of feedback? You think Pierce would be it, or maybe Ueda or someone else?
Well, when Gensler leaves, she's going to be the acting chair. I think that's what our regulatory guy said. Be 2 and 2. So
Okay.
I think she'd be a great chair. I really like her. We've interviewed her for the podcast. She's a nice person. She's a libertarian. She thinks just, disclose all you got to let the people have some choice. And she's more of a free market person. And I just think that's a better way to approach it. That's just my opinion. So I think she'd be great. And with her, I think you would see some of these coins approved.
So another check in the column of Hester Peirce. I know he called her Pierce, but it is pronounced Peirce. So Eric Balchunas at Ripple Swell event, he was saying, the vibe was way more TradFi. So what does that suggest, guys? I think that suggests that we're getting very close to more tokenization of real world assets, to more utility for XRP, ultimately driving more utility to the XRP ledger. I mean, that's always been the theme. But guys, we haven't had the liquidity in the market. I mean, we did in 2021, but obviously we weren't there yet with regulations. 2025 is shaping up to look very bullish. And if you guys are interested in what I'm trading this bull run, what my plan is, it is only $5 a month. You guys can follow me at patreon.com/workingmoneychannel. That's just my opinion. I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.